Jobs, anti-Semitism, and robots. What's next? What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard. It's Bubba's Bottom Line. It's Sunday, March the 10th, and welcome aboard, and glad to be here with you. And of course, we had Friday, we had the jobs number, and it was a disaster. We would say, I guess you could say it just sucked. But of course, the jobs number, like many of the government numbers, are only a way to tell if the government knows how to count. And based on the deficit that we have, and based on the debt clock that we have, and the trillions of debt we have, that they obviously do not know how to count. So I wouldn't take a lot away from the jobs number. I would say to you that there's a couple of things that you can expect. You can expect a revised jobs number the next time it comes out, revising this number back. Number one. Number two, I think you can take away from the jobs number growth, wages that have grown. So I think that's something that is a positive. Again, these numbers are very tenuous at best, especially when they're really bad, because typically they get revised upward. So again, I would say, okay, it is what it is. The ADP jobs number, the private employment was 183,000. So we'll take that for what it's worth. And again, the markets originally sold off, and of course, late in the day they came back and rallied. I think that it really showed you how meaningless this number was at this particular time, and we will continue to see it. But I think one of the big issues that we look at for the relatively lower end of the pay scale is the bringing in of the robots, the artificial intelligence robots. And of course, we're seeing it in many places around the globe. And obviously a lot of the fast food places have already gone to the robots, as we've mentioned before. And of course, I think Domino's Pizza and Little Caesars Pizza were well ahead of this curve when they actually bought a machine that replaced about 3 employees to actually make the pizzas and do everything by itself. And of course, a machine at a cost of about $70,000 replaced a couple of $100,000 in payroll the first year. And of course, so that machine actually paid for itself immediately and is now just kicking out pizzas, which is obviously is good for the company, more profits, more bottom line. And I think obviously that's the way we're going. Caesars Entertainment, which MGM is already planning on replacing 2,000 employees by the year 2020. Doesn't sound that far away. It's less than 9 months away with robots. So you're going to see more and more robots. I mean, you've already seen it in many, many places. Again, even you go to a parking garage, most parking garages have, you have to pay for your ticket, and everything is robotic anyways. Everything is automatic. So that is the way that we are headed, okay? So a lot of these jobs that used to be filled are going to have to be filled by you're going to have to find other types of employment if you had those type of skills and those type of jobs. And this goes back to what we talk about here often, and one of the reasons we put our high school program together is the education of our youth, okay? We have not done, and we continue not to do, a great job of educating America and educating the younger kids and younger people to be prepared for society, because we're more concerned about the money and about getting federal money to get through the schools with the No Child Left Behind Act. All of these stupid things with standardized tests continue to keep this country in a little bit of issues here, where we are not actually educating and preparing our youth. And of course, last week I was actually on a panel on Fox Business talking about this very thing. And again, I think that, we have so many jobs available in this country, and so many, we are at basically full employment. And I think one of the big things that we have here is the lack of training and giving kids a choice. You know, from when you're born to when you grow up through all school, it's college, 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 and you know, not everybody's fit out to go to college, and B, some would rather take the advantage of being, you know, working with your hands, you know, a plumber, electrician, you know, a welder, whatever they are, because those are obviously very good paying jobs. And by the way, okay, you have the opportunity to start in the trade and build yourself up to the boss and build yourself up to your own company. You know, many great entrepreneurs in life have started out in a trade. And again, you know, just because you don't have a college education, I don't have one either. Say, gee, what about that? But even because you don't have college doesn't mean you cannot be extremely successful. And many of these jobs that you have the opportunity to get to through the trades pay extremely well. Okay, you know, so I think this is one of the things that we have missed out on over the years in educating our youth and giving them an opportunity. And as I remember, when I go back to high school, they had a work-study program where you went to school like normal, but you had a shorter day so that you could go to work. But they also did teach you skills like carpentry, you know, like electronics, like auto mechanics. So again, I think we're making a dramatic mistake here by not bringing in some of the new careers out there that are coding. You don't need a college degree for coding. So again, I think that, of course, this continues to be one of the things that plagues this country because of the federal money. And this goes back to why the federal government should not be as big as it is and should let the states take care of things themselves. But of course, that's an old argument. We can kick that can as often as we want. And I think that, you know, we can continue to watch what's happening. But again, you've got too many things going on that are not really healthy from an overall standpoint. And again, unfortunately, it continues to come back to only the money. And so we, you know, again, we have these ridiculous, stupid standardized tests, which do absolutely nothing. Okay, what does the standardized test do? It does absolutely nothing. In the meantime, you've got you've got things going on, and one of them is that the left, the Democrats, want to lower the voting age to 16 and give the right to vote to illegal immigrants. So I ask you, excuse me, whether you're left or right, okay, does it make sense? And of course, the answer is, well, it makes sense if you're on the left, because young kids are more susceptible to socialism. Young kids are more susceptible to understanding the free lunch type of deal, right? Because of course they want everything for nothing. You're still being most of them are obviously still being taken care of by their parents, so they don't have to worry about the household expenses and how to survive. Having to pay your own way. So of course it makes sense, and of course the illegal immigrants, because of the fight of the Democrats for them, of course, that continues to be a reason. And of course, that's what they've built and continue to try to build their party on now that the Democratic Party is falling apart, and we've got from far left to just left. Okay. Again, I remember it used to be that parties were in the center. Okay. And you had a couple of issues that pushed you a little bit right and a couple of issues that put you a little bit left. But now we've got the extreme left who want to recreate Venezuela in this country. And of course, if you don't think there can be another revolution in this country, you better think again. So as the left wants to continue, and both parties more so, but more left, want to continue to destroy the middle class and bring in this, free money type of situation, okay, you're going to see a lot of things that are much worse and that can really create some major issues here. And I think that, I think the real question is how long will the middle class continue its own destruction. And really, again, we've tolerated it for a very long time now. But when you see the destruction start to accelerate here, again, I think the first part of the revolution was the financial part, which is the cryptocurrency world. But again, I think if you continue to see this overall destruction, I think you're going to see eventually at some point. Now again, I can never say when it's going to be, but I can say at some point you're going to see a much bigger deal, and I think you could see an actual fighting revolution at some point. Similar obviously to the Boston Tea Party. Again, there's reasons to believe, that there are many, many issues out there. So again, it's how long will we continue to sit back? And of course, there's a lot more of us than them. And again, of course, I'm not advocating for a revolution. I'm advocating for a solution, and that where we have to take care of it. And the way that we can take care of it now is by voting. Okay? The way we can take care of it now is by rebuilding the political system, because as we know, the political system is broken down. And again, this doesn't matter what party you're for, okay? Because again, I've said this before on this program, the reason that Trump is so hated is because he's rocking the boat, because the politicians and the lobbyists are not getting their extra pay from all these bad deals that they've made over the years, and that they want to continue to make, because at the end of the day, they know that the middle class will pay the taxes, okay, for whatever mistakes they make and for whatever things that they are making special arrangements on, like trade deals with China, like all these other deals that come through that somebody has to make happen. And of course, somebody's getting paid on the side, and that is always an issue. But in the meantime, that is where we are. We need to resolve that, because if we don't resolve that, that will create a much bigger problem down the road. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horwitz. We're going to step out here for a break, and we will be back with more after the break. Bubba's Bottom Line. Hey all, I just want to remind you, we've done a couple of webinars over the last couple of weeks. If you'd like to get a copy of the hedging or the futures webinar, you can certainly email me at bubba@bubbatrading.com. And of course, if you'd like to reach out to Elite Promotions, my friend Joey Foreman, who runs Elite Promotions, and if you're looking for sweatshirts, coffee mugs, any type of premium item, please feel free to reach out to my friend Joey, and that's 847-702-7140, and he'll be happy to help you out. And just tell him Bubba sent you. And of course, don't forget about our high school investing program. If you'd like to help us out, you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That's patreon.com/Bubba Trading. Now let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line. Welcome back to Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horwitz. And well, markets had their first down week, I believe, of the year, or maybe their second, but I believe it's the first. And of course, it was pretty much down every day during the week. And when we came to Friday, they were actually punishing them a little bit, and bang, right about 3:30 Eastern, out of nowhere, they had a violent spike higher. And again, I don't think that was any major surprise. I think, again, we've talked about this time and time again, that the markets are really stuck in a range, and they're trading in these areas, support and resistance, or in consolidation, which is the most frustrating pattern for any trader to trade in. And again, eventually they will break out, and they will break out in one direction or the other, and we will figure it out when it gets there. And again, this is why we have said that we have actually stayed long the market. Okay, we continue to stay long, looking for the markets to continue higher. And again, personally, I would say that there could be some issues coming up, but I think that this is where you have to remember that trying to predict the market is a fool's game. Trying to outsmart the market is a fool's game. And for right now, interest rates are lower. The markets want to go higher. Volume is light. There is no reason to try to step in front of this. Again, I believe there's a bigger chance when the markets finally do break out. I do believe they will break to the downside. But right now, they refuse to break out, and they continue to churn higher. Again, for the last about 14 days, we've been in a range, but we have not been able to break the market with lots of bad news that sort of suggested that the markets could break. So again, there's no reason to sit here and fight this market. You're either long or you're out. I think that's the important thing to remember. And I think when you look at some of the other things that are going on, you look at the transportations. They just had their worst performance in 50 years. Okay, 11 days in a row down and counting. So again, I'm not saying that means anything. I'm not saying that you should bank on it. But again, the last time we saw anything similar to this was 2008. So, and then 2001. Again, this is the worst streak in 50 years. But again, I'm putting out a warning only from the fact, and the warning doesn't mean that you act on that warning. Warning means that you pay attention to what's going on. It only means that when the markets break out, if they break to the downside, it could get really nasty and could get really ugly. That's what you really should be looking at, but you should not be playing for that yet, because again, you will have plenty of time to react to that market when it does break down, or for that matter, when it does break out, to give you the best opportunity, because I assure you that either a break to the downside will be met with a rally that should be back to resistance, and then you can sell it, or a breakout to the upside will be met with a sell-off back to support, and then you can sell it, buy it there. So again, to try to figure it out, there are warning signs out there, there are problems out there, but in the meantime, as long as the money remains cheap, as long as the global economies are collapsing, it does mean one thing, that if you're going to invest, you're probably going to invest in the United States of America. You can see China collapsing, which tells you how bad they need a trade deal. And of course, it's interesting in the divergence in some of these markets, because when you look at the grain space, we have been very bullish grains, and grains have just gotten obliterated. Okay, they have gotten, obliterated is not a good word, but they got pounded. How about that? Okay. All three, soybeans, wheat, and corn, have broken some major support levels. Now, we are not sellers here. We believe that this selling has come from some forced liquidation, some bank panic, and some puking. But it is interesting, why do the equities assume a trade deal in place and the grains don't? So we did take our losses, we did take our outs, and obviously took some pretty good losses on these trades, okay? But again, we are looking now for an opportunity to re-enter into the market. And again, it will show up when it shows up. I can't tell you when, but I would say the first thing we would be looking for is for the markets to consolidate at these lower levels. And we'll be ready to jump back in. But right now, again, we're going to let them go down. How far can they go down? Nobody knows. So we're going to let them continue to trade lower. And at the end, when they're done trading lower, and we can kind of find a reason to enter, we will enter. We are not shorting because of the light volume, the light volatility. It continues to be very much of a concern from a short standpoint. And right now, the bears are in total control. But again, they're controlled with very light action. And that could change in a heartbeat, so we'll be ready. You've got one of the big issues, we got oil, which also staged a dramatic rally on Friday. But the key here is it hit 58 during the week, or close to 58, and failed. Came down to the first level of support, just under 55, and did rally. So again, we're still looking for oil to go significantly lower. I don't see much reason to believe it will not. I think there's a couple of other issues out there now in Norway, which is one of the big oil producers, is starting to dump a lot of their sovereign funds and a bunch of the oil stocks. I think also what you're starting to see is, OPEC and the shale boom. I mean, we have used the least amount of oil from OPEC in years. So I think what you're going to see is OPEC's only option is to try to flood the market and bring prices down to force the shales to take the rigs down again. Now, again, that doesn't mean that oil is going down tomorrow, okay? But we still believe that as long as oil stays below 58, that oil is going significantly lower. And we do expect to see it in the 40s before the end of the year, or maybe even before the end of the quarter. All right, well, maybe at the quarter, maybe second quarter. We are expecting lower prices, and we will continue to stay short oil as it happens. Now, a funny thing happened on the way down. Gold magically, which we wrote about every day for Kitco, found a low or found some support at about 1280. Okay, and of course, what did you see? You saw some dramatic selling. It hit 1280, went sideways for a couple of days, and then on Friday, it popped up just back over 1300. Now, again, this does not mean that we're going back higher again. We're still bullish long-term gold, but are concerned in the short term here and are short slightly just as a trade. Again, we will have an exit if it turns back on. But again, it did meet our upside objectives first, and we'd like to see how it trades down here. I would expect, and I would actually hope, for my bullish opinion, that the markets would consolidate. If you have an opinion, you do not want to see a market go straight up or straight down, because it builds much more power, and it goes much farther when it goes down trending wise or up trending wise versus these big wild spikes. Typically, these big wild spikes are met with the opposite. And I would expect to see, more than likely, sellers come into gold tomorrow, but we'll see. Again, the dollar finally broke out back over that 97 level we continue to talk about. It now is on pace to get to par, which we expect. And I see no reason to stop that. The meats continue to be in pretty good shape. We called the hogs a bottom in hogs, and hogs had a beautiful week last week, breaking back over 60. Fat cattle or live cattle has the best looking chart of any individual trade of anything. Live cattle has the best looking chart and continues to grind higher, looking to make new highs again. And of course, feeder cattle traded in that big range and closed right at the top end. This may be the time it does break out. And again, we'll see. We're not predicting that it breaks out, but we're certainly buyers if it pulls back, and expect it to break out at some point. And of course, there's been a lot of talk about, a lot of farmers are starting to decide when, obviously we're coming into planting season, and many are going to not take and plant soybeans, but they're going to plant corn instead. Well, that would be actually fairly bullish for soybeans at some point. But again, I think the big issue here is the high farm prices, the high land lease prices now, and of course, I think we talked about last week, is the commercials out there and the big corporates buying up so much land and overpaying for it that it's forcing a lot of the little guys out, and we'll see. But I think one of the things here that we will continue to see is it's very challenging for everybody, again, especially because of the regulations from the banks and how they have to work. So I think that at the end of it, all right, you have to continue to look at where we're going to come, and without any major event over the last, I can't remember the last time we had a weather event or an event that created a shortage. Okay, right now globally there has been no events, so you can hear the politicians talk about the tariffs and the lobbyists talk about the tariffs, but it's not really the tariffs. It's really a matter of an oversupply. It's really over lack of demand, oversupply, because there has been no creation of any shortage here. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, I expect that to resolve itself. And of course, lastly, before we go to my commentary, the algo trading. Again, it pisses me off. I can't understand how every time the markets go down, all the media says it's the algo trading, it's the high frequency traders. How come nobody complains about the algo trading when the markets go up? It makes, again, no sense. It's ridiculous. I'm tired of the media misreporting everything from farm prices to algorithm trading. It's a joke. And please get your facts straight. Okay, that's as simple as I can ask. Algorithm trading doesn't have a direction. It clears action on both sides. Okay, it goes up fast, it goes down fast. That's the way it is. And right now, the only people really getting hurt from the tariffs are the guys who get the money on the side from making these bad deals. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horowitz. We're going to step out of a break and come back with my commentary with more of Bubba's Bottom Line. What's up, everybody? Remember, you want to check out those webinars I did on futures and hedging, please just email me at bubba@bubbatrading.com. I'll be happy to email them to you. You can watch them. They're free, nothing to look at. And, of course, you can check out my friend Joey Foreman over at Elite Promotions. If you have any problems, can't get a hold of him, just email me and I'll make sure we get it done. But if you're looking for premium items, we'll help you out with that. And, of course, our high school investing program, if you'd like to help us there, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. That's Patreon, patreon.com/Bubba Trading. And we're going to get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and my commentary right now. Welcome back to Bubba's Bottom Line. Todd Bubba Horwitz. And, of course, each and every week I give you a little bit of taste of what I'm thinking. And, you know, I'm pretty frustrated today as I continue to watch the left in the House try to pass a bill on the anti-Semitism of some of the members of the left side of Congress who continue to bash Israel and the Jews and how bad they are. And I cannot believe that we are in the year 2019 and we have to have a wording of how a vote should be, okay? And these members of Congress that are outwardly anti-Semitic are continued to be allowed to be on their special committees and have not been at all, it's somewhat disciplined. I understand that there is still a lot of racism in this country. I mean, the Jews have been persecuted for their entire history, okay? And I can't understand how we have to have a special committee and a special bill and a special vote when these members should be at least banned from the committees that they are on. And one of them, of course, Oman, is on foreign affairs. So their interest is in the destruction of Israel and the destruction of the Jewish people, which I think is why so many people had so many problems with Trump moving the office from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And of course, they want to call President Trump a racist. And here you have it as clear as can be, the anti-Semitism in Congress on the left side. And the amazing thing I find about that is that 70% of Jewish people vote for the left. And I don't know that it'll change this election, but here it is, open anti-Semitism that is requiring a special bill which they can't get the wording correct for to get it to be voted on. That is something that is beyond me. And again, just as any other race or religion should not be persecuted against, okay? Again, I know we don't have the greatest history going back, but there has been issues, but I think we can try to continue to improve that. And for this to be part of our government and to be in Congress and publicly, again, people can think what they want privately. I can't read their minds, but when people come out publicly and make these ridiculous statements, anti-Semitic statements, something needs to be done. They need to be disciplined because that is not a part of the America that I know and that we're in the America we're trying to strive for. So I hope that they get something done and at least can figure out the wording, because the left has lost their mind with having to call for a bill on anti-Semitism to get rid of it. That's it for today. This is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horwitz. As always, I thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you back here for those who subscribe to Monday's Daily Update. And, of course, for those who don't, next week with Bubba's Bottom Line. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll see you later.